back to the channel. So today's episode of Legion will be kind of a little bit of a shorter one. I've got some concerts coming up, so I'm really trying to hammer this one out. We're going to be going over the Trinity of Terror tours. So there are 3 legs to it. I was fortunate enough to go to all 3 of them. If you guys were able to go to the Trinity of Terror legs, literally any of them, please let me know. Since we had discussed the Phantom tomorrow, I figured this would be a good time to discuss the Trinity of Terror. As always, before we get into things, there's a few things we need to discuss in the Black Veil Brides world. Of course, we have the European and UK tour of 2027 coming up in January and February. Make sure you get your tickets for that. And then, of course, we have the second leg of the Vindicate tour for the US. It'll be running from August to September. Make sure you get your tickets and VIP for both of those as well. And then also Andy and Juliet or Lilith will be hosting or helping with the Vans Warped Tour in Long Beach. So I am looking forward to seeing the content from that. Lilith had posted something on her story about trying to find outfits for it. So honestly, I feel her pain, because anytime that I have to go to a concert, I feel like I'm pulling out like a million different outfits to choose from, and it gets really overwhelming. And people do not understand, especially guys, do not understand how much thought has to go into each outfit when it comes to a concert, because we want the vibes to be immaculate and perfect. Another thing with this podcast, there will not be a episode the end of this month, and there may be some inconsistencies when it comes to October or September and October, just because I have projects I'm gonna be working on. My wedding will be during that time, so there may be a few times where there's not a podcast episode for a week or so. So just giving you guys all a heads up, but let's dive into this. So Trinity of Terror, the first leg, this was announced, I want to say sometime around December of 21, and it was interesting. I was obviously very excited. I know a bunch of my friends are very excited. I had never seen Motionless White or Ice Nine Kills before, so it was really interesting and exciting to see them along with Black Veil Brides. And of course, the opener for the first leg was Lilith Czar. I was super excited about that because I had just been starting to get into her music, and so I was excited that she was going to be one of the openers for the Trinity of Terror. Unfortunately, I feel like this is kind of a theme for any time that Black Veil Brides announces a tour with somebody else. There's always fans that are going to be salty about the announcement and don't think that Black Veil Brides deserves to have some kind of platform or be touring with a band. So unfortunately, there was a lot of discussion and I wouldn't say backlash, but there was just a lot of hate from other fans of other bands, especially on Twitter for whatever reason. We all know that Twitter is kind of a cesspool of seeing that, I felt like myself and a bunch of other fans, I feel like we were just fighting for our lives here, trying to justify like every band deserves to have a tour like this. And I felt like, I think a lot of fans of other bands were thinking like we need something that's more like horror-esque, because you know, Ice Nine Kills, their whole thing is like horror movies and spooky, scary stuff, and Motionless in White is more so what I would call like Halloween-y, but their vibe is a little bit different. But, you know, I mean, they all grew up in the scene together. They were experienced bands, Warped Tour together and everything like that, and they kind of grew up in this scene. So to have them come together for this massive tour was a huge deal, and the hate that Black Veil Brides got for this was so stupid. Like, say what you will, guys. I don't care if you don't like Black Veil Brides, but if you genuinely hate them that much, then don't go to the tour. I mean, that was what I was saying. There were a couple of fans, of course. For Black Veil Brides, we were trying to defend them with our lives. When it came down to it, though, like, for the shows, I never experienced anything For the most part, fans were pretty respectful. I know there were a couple stories here and there that I saw where Black Veil Brides fans were being harassed and bullied for just being there, which is stupid because it's like a lot of us Black Veil Brides fans are also fans of like Motionless in White and Ice Nine Kills. Like there's a little bit of an overlap there. So for somebody else that's a huge fan of another band on the tour to harass somebody for that is so fucking stupid in my opinion. With the Trinity of Terror, we had 3 legs though. So we had the first leg, which started March 17th of 2022 in Arizona, and then it ended April 27th in Virginia. I went to 2 shows on that tour. So I went to Oshkosh with Ruth. That was the first time that we met up. And then I went to the Des Moines one, and they were pretty close to each other. Des Moines was the first one I went to. It was April 1st, and then the Oshkosh one was April 3rd. So I spent like a day between driving. It was very tiring. Unfortunately for the Oshkosh show, we did not get Black Veil Brides because the band got COVID. So they announced it, I think, about an hour before they were going to start letting people in for VIP, and Ruth and I were so heartbroken. A lot of us fans, Black Veil Brides fans, were like heartbroken. I was in tears. I was upset because it was a show that my dad was going to be with us too, and my dad was literally only there to see Black Veil Brides. He ended up leaving after that announcement, and so it was just Ruth and I. Well, we still tried to have a good time for that. You know, COVID was still pretty fresh. Well, unfortunately, during the first leg, Lonnie had broken his leg. So this guy, Kyle, had filled in for them. He did a pretty good job. Obviously, it's not the same when Lonnie isn't there, but like I was excited originally when they announced this because I'm like, oh my gosh, this is a huge tour. Is this something huge for the band? And I felt like the first leg was like all the bands on there just kept getting like punched down. I felt like there was just so many things that were going wrong. But eventually they got their footing for the second and third leg. Things seemed to go a lot more smoothly. The band seemed to have their stuff together a little bit more and the flow of things. So, but overall, the first leg I thought was pretty good. Second leg of Trinity of Terror, that started August 30th of 2022 in Denver, Colorado, and then it ended on the 29th of October for When We Were Young Fest in Vegas. If I'm not mistaken, that was the same year that there was some delays for When We Were Young Fest because of the weather and the wind and like dust storms and stuff. So, you know, what's another thing, right? So Trinity of Terror 2, I had gone to the Cincinnati show. It was a huge like meetup. It was a bunch of our friends and Chris like 2 days before. After Riot Fest was over with, because I was only there for My Chemical Romance, my fiance and I drove down somewhere in Indiana. We ended up sleeping in our car in the parking lot of an Anytime Fitness because we didn't get a hotel, which was fine. And then when we woke up, we got changed, whatever, drove from that place in Indiana to Cincinnati, to our hotel, or to our, I think we got an Airbnb that time, to our Airbnb, and the next day was the show, and that was so cool. It was really fun. It was nice meeting Chris. Chris is so nice. Shout out to Chris. That was such a fun experience. The VIP for these tours, for this tour, the legs of the tour, was set up so everyone was broken up into teams and you do trivia. So with the bands. So one team would be with like one band, the other team would be with another band, and then another team would be with the last band. So that was kind of fun, kind of compete that way. Some of the trivia was so random, and like most of it I was like, I have no idea. It felt very specific, which was fine. It was fun. I felt like it was a good way to get fans of different bands together and kind of have a fun little competition. And then the VIP photos they had, they'd have one band up on stage, they'd break you up into groups, obviously, and then they'd circle through, and they just kind of had it organized that way, which was kind of nice. So you got a picture with each band. It was kind of like a larger photo, which was fine. I mean, I would have liked an individual thing, but obviously that can't work logically with so many bands on the tour. If you want to see the vlogs that I had for any of these Trinity of Terror shows that I went to, those are available on my channel. I believe I have a playlist for vlogs, so you can scroll through that and find them and watch them. Some of them are a little bit longer than others. Trinity of Terror 3. This started October 31st in El Paso, Texas, and then ended December 12th in Seattle, Washington. I went to the third leg as well. This is where I had played my flute on the stage first time in Cedar Rapids at the Alliant Powerhouse. There's a whole story with this. Dad, if you're watching this, I'm so sorry. You already know the story. A couple of my friends already know the story, but I had made a promise that year that I was not going to spend any more money on concerts, and I wasn't going to go to any more concerts because I said I was going to save money as long as I was living with my parents. And I saw the opportunity to go to a concert, and it was on a weekend, and so I had lied to my parents. I don't condone doing this. I was much younger in 2022. You know, I made sure I made a dumb decision, but do I regret it? Absolutely not. But I had lied and said that I was going down there to just visit my fiance, and I had said that we were going to go to one of his friends' parties, which was true. They were having a party, a birthday party, which I showed up to after the concert. But yeah, I was trying to keep it a secret as much as I could, and then my dad found a video on YouTube that somebody had posted of me playing my flute on stage. And so then, yeah, I got kicked out of the house for that, but I don't regret it at all. Totally worth it. But, you know, dumb decision on my part. Don't lie to your parents. Please don't do that. Now look where we are. I'm thriving. The vlog for that one is up too. You can watch that. And also during these legs, they had Jake and Jinx had their jacket experiences. I got those. I have a lot of their vests or jackets hanging around. I have a couple in one of my closets. I have probably 3 hanging up right now around my room, and then the other ones are just in the closet. But if they ever bring that back, I highly recommend doing that. It's a very fun experience. It's more of a one-on-one thing. You can spend a little bit more time talking to them individually, which is nice. So hopefully sometime in the future, Jake and Jinx bring that back. I know Cece and Lonnie kind of do their own after-show experience too, so that is something you can look into if you go to shows, assuming that they're going to offer it again. When it came to the openers though, for these legs, Trinity of Terror 1 was Lilith Czar, which we talked about, and then the Trinity of Terror 2 opener, I think it was supposed to be Crown the Empire, and then there was some kind of drama, backlash thing that was going on. I didn't really keep up with it. I think for the most part it was more of online discourse on like Reddit and Twitter and shit. And then they ended up replacing Crown the Empire with We Came as Romans. We Came as Romans was actually really good. So having them as an opener was a surprise. I liked, overall their stage presence was pretty good, and they had a lot of energy, so I have no complaints about that. And then the Trinity of Terror 3 opener was a trio. I think I had only listened to like 1 or 2 of their songs before. So it was nice to hear them. They did a great job. Would I go out of my way to see them again? No, but if they were an opener for another band I was seeing, I'd be happy about that. They were great. I liked them. Also, with the Trinity of Terror legs, they kind of alternated or rotated through who was going to play when. So whoever was going to be quote unquote the headliner that night, they would rotate through, and so you do opener, there'd be the first band, second band, third band, or the like, I don't know, headliner, but they rotate through it every night, which was nice. So it wasn't predictable on like this band goes first, this band goes second, and so on. So it was kind of nice to have that and keep it fresh, because technically it was a like headliner tour, so that was cool. I liked the theatrical performances that Ice and Kills did, and some of the stuff that Motionless and White did, but of course I am a Blackville Brides girl through and through, so I liked more that laid back, and it's just the band you can focus on. There's not all this stuff that's going on. You can focus on Jake playing his guitar. You can focus on Cece just killing it on the drums. So it was kind of nice to have a little bit of differences between the bands, and just enjoy the show, enjoy the concert. And yeah, I don't think I really had any negative experiences other than like when I was driving to the Des Moines show, my alternator in my car went out and I was panicking. But luckily for me, I have severe anxiety. So I like to leave for things very early because I always assume something bad is going to happen. And I'm glad that I did, because I was delayed by like an hour and a half because we had to switch cars. And eventually I did make it there, obviously later than I normally did. But other than that, I didn't really have too many terrible experiences when it came to traveling. So yeah, that is all that I have for the Trinity of Terror and my experiences and stuff. Let me know which shows you guys went to for this tour and how that went for you, kind of your thoughts on it. And if there was a tour like this again, who would you want to be touring with Black Veil Brides? Because I have my biases. I know what bands I would love to see with Black Veil Brides again. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I apologize if there's any kind of delays and stuff in the near future. It's just life happens. I have a lot going on this year, and yeah, but thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure that you are following me on all my social medias. I am taking commissions until the end of August. I did just list a Motionless in White bustier up on my Etsy. That's available as of me filming this. I'm also taking commissions for custom boots, custom vests, jackets, portraits, tattoo designs, merch designs, that kind of stuff. So make sure you hit me up if you're interested. Follow me on all my social medias linked in the description below. And I think that's all. But yeah, anyway, thank you guys. And I will see you in the next episode. Stay rad.